Welcome back. Now today I wanted to bring you another book talk because I've not done one of those in a while. So I wanted to bring you my thoughts on Falling by Julie Cohen. I read this one on ebook, that's why you're just getting the picture of it on the phone there. And this was originally released as a book called The Day of Second Chances, but was re-released with this title, and it kind of doesn't become clear why this is the title of it until you get further into the book. So I'm not going to talk about that because it would give you some spoilers. So if I read the blurb for you, you'll get an idea of what the book's actually about. So can you imagine keeping a secret so devastating you couldn't even tell the people you love? Honna's secret threatens to rob her of independence she's guarded ferociously for 80 years. Joe's secret could smash apart the normal life she's fought so hard to build. And Lydia's secret could bring her love or loss of everything that matters to her. One summer's day, grandmother, mother and daughter's secrets will collide in a single dramatic moment. Is it too late for the second chances? And that kind of gives you an idea. It's a multiple narrative, so we hear things from Honna's perspective, from Joe's perspective, and from Lydia's perspective, but we don't often hear the same scene from all of their perspectives, so we get to know what's going on in kind of their thoughts and their views on things, and some of them are in the first person and some of them are in the third person, which makes it really clear to distinguish between all of their different kind of voices and opinions and storylines. And it's really interesting having the kind of three generations of the women and hearing how they kind of have their take on the world and situations and things that are going on in all of their lives and in the kind of like bigger world as a whole. Obviously Lydia is at school and is doing her GCSEs, and so we sort of hear things from her point of view, and her secret's very interesting but very relevant, and I thought that Julie Cohen dealt with her secret incredibly well. Honna's point of view is very interesting as well. Her secret, well, she has multiple secrets actually. Her secrets are very different from the other two secrets, but they kind of have a big impact on her life and the others' lives as well. And it's interesting the way they handle their secrets, and it's interesting the way they handle themselves. And the whole book begins with Honna actually having a fall at home, so I suppose that kind of leads to the part of the reason the book's called Falling. But it's interesting how she kind of deals with her loss of independence, and a lot of the book is to do with how she deals with this loss of independence. Obviously she has interactions with Joe and Lydia and Joe's other two children, and it's interesting to see how her relationship with the children and her relationship with Joe changes. Joe is her daughter-in-law, not her daughter, and so that puts a different spin on things as well. And Joe's storyline is one that often kind of doesn't make it into a whole book because it's not considered a kind of an important enough storyline, because Joe is a stay-at-home mum, she's divorced, and she has toddlers and a teenager and is a stay-at-home mum, and it kind of deals with the fact that somebody says at some point in the book that, you know, you're just a mum, like, what do? You're just a mum. And I think that's kind of the kind of spur that kind of gets Joe to take some more action and kind of rethink the way she deals with things and what she's doing in kind of in her life. But Joe's story is an interesting one because it's not one that we often hear. And yeah, as I say, Lydia's story I think is dealt with incredibly well by Julie Cohen, and I felt that I really felt that I could have been Lydia's friend. I really kind of felt her pain, and it took me back to when I was doing my GCSEs, and there's a moment when she was standing outside an exam hall and saying how it was strange to be there when everybody else was just doing normal lessons and they were having a really important moment. There are some parts in the book that are incredibly funny, and there are some parts in the book that are incredibly moving. One thing that I really liked about this book is the fact that the chapter lengths just seem to be just right. So you get into one person's chapter and then you get to the end of that chapter and it would move on to the next person's chapter, and you didn't feel ready to leave it, so you found yourself reading more in that way. I sort of started reading this book and then put it down and came back to it, and when I came back to it I actually read a whole chunk of it, I think I had 53% left, and I read the second half of it all in one massive chunk, because you know it was like a snowball gathering speed and gathering in volume as it moved on, and I kind of had to know what was happening. And so I really like the fact that it was so compelling in that way, but the chapters just felt just the right length. I think if they'd been a bit longer, I would have had to stop at the end of a chapter, and had they been a bit shorter, it might have felt a bit broken up, but I really like the length of the chapters. I also like the fact that this is sort of set fairly close to where I used to live, so again I could picture it, and it also had parts set in London as well, so that was nice to be able to picture it. But I think overall this was definitely a 5-star read for me. I love that Julie Cohen is never afraid to kind of delve into those issues and really fully explore those issues. Her books can go that little bit deeper, and so you do feel like you're being challenged a little bit more, but she always writes a satisfying read, and one that's very compelling and hard to put down and thoroughly enjoyable. So those are my thoughts on Falling. This has been quite a long video to do with thoughts on one book. Let me know if you've read it, or if you read it when it was the day of second chances. And if you are considering popping it on your TBR, then definitely do it. It's a good book to read at this time of year because it's not Christmassy, and there are a lot of Christmassy books around right now. So if you're wanting something that's kind of the antidote to that glittery, sparkly Christmas feeling, then definitely pick this one up. I hope you're having a good week, and I'll have another video for you soon. Bye!